Tonight, I'm going to build some cross-country time towards my instrument rating.
Prop area appears clear. Brakes are set. Master switch comes on. I already got the tach time. Fuel pump comes on. Mixture full rich. Clear!
My game plan tonight is to fly north to Witham Field in Stuart, land, and then return back to Pompano. Witham Field is about 55 miles to the north, and my overall flight time should be just over 2 hours. That'll help me continue to cut into the total of 50 cross-country hours that I'll need to get my instrument rating. On tonight's flight, we will not have any cockpit audio recording because I left the recording cable at home. Didn't notice until I got to the airport. Checklist discipline works, as long as you have a checklist to follow. My wife would tell you that I need a checklist for leaving the house, not just to go fly, but for every day. There's no way she could be right, is there? Departure will be straight out to the east until I reach the shoreline. That flashing light down there is Hillsborough Lighthouse, which marks the shoreline. At that point, I'll make a left to head north. I have to switch over to Boca Tower to get permission to transition through their airspace. The Pompano controller will hand me off. And then once I get north of Boca, I have to get permission to transition north through Palm Beach's Class Charlie airspace. Wow, what a spectacular view. That alone's worth the price of admission. Clear Boca, I'll switch over to Palm Beach and get clearance to transition through their airspace. After I was clear of Palm Beach's Class Charlie airspace, I got the weather at Stuart and then contacted the tower. The winds were out of the east, and I was instructed to enter the pattern as expected on a right downwind for runway 12. There was a Cessna 172 on crosswind, and the controller instructed me to follow that traffic. A big challenge that VFR pilots face, especially when flying at night into an unfamiliar airport, is actually finding the airport. The city lights can be deceptive, and it makes the airport hard to find. Fortunately for me, I had ForeFlight on my iPad, good navigation equipment in the airplane to supplement what my eyes were seeing, and I was able to find that Cessna 172 on downwind and enter the pattern right behind them. Now that I'd found the airport, I was able to get established on downwind, get to pattern altitude of 1,000 feet, begin my initial descent, and then start my base turn. Rolled out of my base turn, got lined up on final. This runway is particularly difficult to pick up at night, and there's a lot of other lights that can distract you. The Cessna 172 had already cleared the runway, so I was clear to land. After landing, clearing the runway and running through my after landing checklist, I taxied back to runway 12 to get ready for departure. The controller was ready to clear me go immediately, but I still had to run through my before takeoff checklist, so as a result I had to wait for a Cessna 172 and then a citation to land before I could go. My departure to the east would take me out over the Indian River Lagoon until I reached the beach, at which point I'd turn to the south. I'm going to climb up to about 1,800 feet because in about 20 miles, Palm Beach departure is going to ask me to descend to 1,000 feet or below so that I can fly under the departure path for Palm Beach International Airport. VFR pilots flying through Palm Beach Class Charlie airspace can typically fly a mile offshore at or below 1,000 feet, just east of the beach at or below 500 feet, or they can fly at 2,000 over the top of the airport. Because there's some low clouds that I experienced on the way north, I'm going to stay east of the beach at or below 1,000 feet. The flight south along the coast was smooth and uneventful. After I cleared the Palm Beach Class Charlie airspace, I switched over to get the AWAS information at Pompano, and then over to 118.425 to get permission from Boca Tower to transition south along the shoreline through their airspace. I'd continue south until I reached Hillsborough Lighthouse, at which point I'd make a right turn to enter the traffic pattern on a left downwind for runway 10. At Hillsborough Lighthouse, made a right turn, entered the left downwind for runway 10, descended down to pattern altitude, which is 800 feet. Continue on the downwind until I'm abeam the numbers, and then I will pull the power back and start my initial descent. That building over there on the left, coming out just under the wing, that's the Goodyear Blimp base. Pompano is one of 3 bases for the Goodyear Blimp in the United States, and we often see the Blimp flying around during the daytime. Since it's after 9 o'clock at night, Pompano Tower is closed, so I am going to have to make my position reports at each stage on the Common Traffic Advisory frequency. Fortunately, like most nights, there was no other traffic in the pattern, and I had the airport all to myself. Winds are out of the east, blowing almost directly down the runway, only about 8 knots. Goal now is to get stabilized on final approach, come over the fence at about 70 knots with full flaps, and grease the landing. Boy, that is a great feeling when you stick the landing, especially at night. This is a pretty nice flight. Quick 2 hours of cross-country time. Now I just got to get back to the ramp, get some gas, get the airplane tied down. That concludes a fun night of flying. Got a couple of hours cross-country time in. Airplane is topped off with fuel, tied down and secured. The airport is completely empty and it's time to head for home. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to be notified when I post future content. Don't forget to click that like button and be sure to leave me a comment. Thanks for watching.